In this video, we're going to be covering how to jump back from failure, specifically failure in tests in school. We have a YouTube viewer, a YouTube subscriber by the name of Rain Hardy, who writes in and he says, I have gotten a C on a test. How do I jump back from that and stay motivated and still have faith and hope and energy and keep going? So I'll be covering that. And also shout out to a YouTuber by the name of Violetti. She recommended a book for all the other viewers. So I love the positivity here. She says the book 7 Highly Effective Habits for Teens by Stephen Covey is a great book that everyone should read. So I love that recommendation, especially because it's such a timeless book. I think it was written like 25 years ago or something. I remember seeing it on the shelf in elementary school. So it's a pretty old book. For it to still have relevance and impact today, it's a good book. It's kind of like How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's like a 50-year-old book, and yet people are still constantly recommending it, including a lot of young people. So there you have it. Let's get into the topic for this video. By the way, I think a lot of the questions people ask in the comments and they write to me, I've technically covered in like a Q&A or some older video of some sort. So if you want to go on a binge session, like you could probably find the answer somewhere previously on my channel. I have so many videos. However, I'm answering just this specific question because some people just don't want to sift through that, or they just want to answer it. So that's what I told Randy. It's probably already answered in my previous Q&A, but I'm going to address it straight on for you, Randy. So here's the thing. I think one of the keys to really seeing significant progress over time is momentum. And to build that momentum in terms of school, you have to kind of celebrate your wins, your progresses, even if they seem small. You have to look back at where you came from. And if you beat yourself up too much, or you take a step back after making so much progress, but the step back, when you look back, is really not as bad as you think, considering all your gains. You have to celebrate that and not let it get you down too much. Because if you let it turn into a negative spiral, then you're just going to give up and lose that momentum. And even when you lose momentum, you can still build it back up. It's always about that hope, that faith, that positivity, and that celebration. Now, let me get more specific so you know what I mean. Consider this. Let's just assume a person was a straight D student. He got all D's on his report card. He starts, watching some YouTube videos, maybe mine, maybe someone else's, and all of a sudden, and this has happened actually, there's a few comments like this from some of my older videos, which was surprising that it worked, but a lot of people are writing back that my tips have worked. But let's assume that you start to see some success. I mean, think about that. And all of a sudden, you get some C's, maybe you get some B's. You start filling in all the homeworks. That starts bumping up your grade. You start, studying a little bit here and there, and all of a sudden you remember a thing or two during a test, and now it's a C. Well, some people might be like, oh, I'm a negative Nancy. It's just a C. It's not an A. Who cares? Sure, I went from D's to C's. That's not really going to help you. I mean, that's the same negative mindset that you don't even want to apply to fitness, lifting weights. It's not going to help you. You have to celebrate those wins, because that, despite it being small, that's still a big jump in many ways. And it's a great indicator that if you continue that momentum, that positivity, that enthusiasm, you can start to see more gains. Especially when you start that low, the jumps are easier. It's kind of like newbie weights when you're at the gym. You get those beginner gains, even though you're not putting in as much expert as a advanced person. So there is a diminishing return effect to it, as you get up to B plus and A minus and A. But still, especially if you're starting out, you're going to see these bigger jumps, and it's going to be exciting. And even if they're small, you want to acknowledge that and celebrate that. Even if it's something as small as high five to yourself. And so just like at the gym, not everything's just going to be up, up, up all the time. Sometimes at the gym, you know, you're lifting those weights and you squat 100 pounds, then you squat 150 pounds. It's not always going to be up and up. Maybe you have those recovery days or those weeks where you plateau. It's not that easy. So sometimes you may even dip by 10 pounds. You're trying your hardest and you can only do 140 pounds that week, even though you did 150 the week before. It's not about the, you know, up and up all the time consistently. That's not realistic. If it was that easy, like everyone would be a rich millionaire, straight A student who had no problems. It's a rocky road and life gets complex. So, you know, maybe a certain test or something, he throws a different problem at you and you don't know the answer. And all of a sudden you drop back down to a D for that single test. Do you whine about it? No, you look at the general big picture. If, you know, you're still seeing that upward trend, you got CCC on all these other things, and then you even got a couple B's, just because you got a D again on one test, still puts you ahead of where you were before, where you're getting straight D's on everything. So I think that positivity helps. For me, I think a lot of positivity through consuming it all the time also helps, especially if you're already negative or, you know, from experience, are around negative people or whatnot. Now you have the beauty of podcasts, internet, and you find these positive people who are constantly speaking uplifting stuff. You play that on repeat. You play it a couple times. You listen to it while you're in the shower. You're going for a jog. All of a sudden, you keep hearing that. You start thinking more positive. You start thinking better about yourself. And it's not easy. Negativity is not something that is easy to overcome, but it definitely helps when you can overcome it. There's definitely tactics that you can do to improve it, and it'll just get you going. It'll get you feeling better, thinking better, and working better. So from personal experience, you know, I'm a negative dwelling type of person, and I still struggle with that to this day, but I try my best. I use the tactics, and I acknowledge it because I know that, you know, there's a negativity bias in humans where we're inclined to be more negative and focus on the negative. That's part of our nature because in our prehistoric past, if the hunter-gatherers didn't notice anything negative, that could have been a tiger that kills you or something that really harms you. Nowadays, that negative bias isn't necessary. It may even hurt us. So you got to stay a bit more positive in that and optimistic. And when you celebrate those wins, you start to see some progress. It translates to other areas of my life, not just fitness, but think about my YouTube channel. I've seen a lot of dips. I've seen a lot of drops. But, you know, overall, it's trending upwards slowly, very slowly, but still, you know. And I'm seeing a lot more comments like, thank you so much. A lot more thank you messages. So, you know, at one point, it was looking pretty bad. A lot of nasty comments. Still, occasional nasty comments here and there. That's the internet. But in general, it's trending up. And you got to celebrate those wins. You know, it's not always going to be bing all the way up. It might be That's the entrepreneur's journey. That's the fitness world, bodybuilder's journey. And that may be your student's journey. Good luck. Subscribe. I'll see you later. Smash that like.